In a world that thrives on social connections, I found myself in a self-imposed isolation. Hello there, I'm Julius. I'm an early 30-something, and if I were to be described in a few words, they would be shy and socially awkward. You see, I've always been the kind who preferred solitude over company, silence over the cacophony of voices. Social gatherings, parties, meetings, they've always made me feel out of place, like a fish out of water. People say it's a big, beautiful world out there filled with interesting people and exciting adventures. But to me, it was a maze I was always trying to navigate, a puzzle I was always trying to solve. In this vast sea of human interactions, I found myself drifting away, preferring the comfort of my own company. Alone in my room, I had control. No eyes to judge me, no voices to question me, just me and my thoughts. As time passed, this isolation became more than just a preference. It became my haven, my safe place. And in this haven, I found an escape: masturbation. It was my secret sanctuary, a world where I felt powerful, in control, and above all, free from the shackles of social anxiety. But as the days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, this escape became my reality. It was no longer just a refuge, it was now a ritual, a pattern, a cycle. A cycle that I was unknowingly trapped in. It was like a silent song, playing on a loop, lulling me into a sense of comfort. But beneath this comfort lay a harsh truth. I was alone, not by circumstance but by choice, my choice. The more I isolated myself, the deeper I fell into this cycle. But what I didn't realize was, I was digging a hole for myself, a hole that I would soon struggle to climb out of. But that's a story for another time. For now, let's just say, I was comfortably uncomfortable in my isolated world. It was a regular Tuesday morning when it hit me. I haven't dated in years. A wave of realization washed over me, akin to a sudden cold shower on a winter's morning, jolting me awake. The world around me seemed to be moving at light speed while I was trapped in my own bubble, stagnating. I'd become a spectator in my own life, watching from the sidelines as my friends found their life partners, exchanged vows, and cradled their newborns. Their lives were blossoming with experiences, each one like a vibrant petal unfurling in the sun. Yet, there I was, standing in the shadows of their happiness, my life a stark contrast to theirs. I was stuck in a cycle, a loop of isolation and self-pleasure that was wearing me thin. The loneliness, once a mere whisper in the back of my mind, had now grown into a deafening roar. It was a constant companion, a relentless reminder of the life I was leading. I felt like a ship adrift in the ocean, with no destination, no purpose. It was a chilling realization, the kind that makes you question your choices, your existence. But amidst this sea of despair, a spark of determination flickered within me. I knew I had to break free from this cycle. It was not just about dating or finding a partner, it was about reclaiming my life, about rediscovering myself. It was about breaking the shackles of my self-imposed isolation and stepping into the world with renewed vigor. Change is never easy. It demands courage, resilience, and a will to persevere. But I knew I had to take that leap of faith for the sake of my own sanity. I had to confront my fears, face my demons, and chart a new course for myself. I had to move past my comfort zone and embrace the uncertainty that lay ahead. I realized I was stuck in a rut, and only I had the power to pull myself out of it. I was my own savior, the master of my destiny. The road to change was in my hands, and it was time to embark on that journey. It wasn't going to be easy, but I was determined to break free from this cycle. That was my mantra, my beacon of hope, my guiding light. I knew that the journey to change would be hard, perhaps the hardest thing I've ever done, but I also knew that it was necessary. I started with therapy. It felt strange at first, opening up to a stranger about my most intimate issues, but it was also liberating. It was like I was finally letting go of the burdens I'd been carrying for so long. Each session was a step towards understanding myself better, towards realizing why I was stuck in this cycle of isolation and self-gratification. But therapy was just the first step. I needed to rebuild my social life, to form connections with people. It was daunting stepping out of my comfort zone. I was shy, socially awkward, but I pushed myself. I attended social events, started conversations with strangers, tried to make new friends. It was hard, yes, but it was also rewarding. Each new connection I made was a victory, a sign that I was moving forward. There were times when I wanted to give up, to retreat back to my isolated world. But I reminded myself of the progress I'd made, of the small victories I had achieved. I reminded myself of the person I was becoming, a person who was not defined by his habits, but by his determination to change. I also found solace in physical activity. I joined a local gym, started running in the mornings. It was a way to channel my energy, to divert my attention from the urges that had dominated my life for so long. Each mile I ran, each weight I lifted was another step away from my old self. And so, I continued on my journey. I faced struggles, yes, but I also experienced victories. I learned to appreciate the small steps, the gradual progress. I learned to celebrate each moment of triumph, no matter how small. Every small step I took was a step away from the isolated world I had created for myself. And that, my friends, is the journey to change. Now as I look back, I see a man who was lost but found his way back. A man who, once upon a time, was trapped in his own world, a world of isolation and self-indulgence. But that man, that Julius, is no more. I stand before you today as a different person. I have emerged from my cocoon not as a moth but as a butterfly, vibrant and full of life. I've learned that life is so much more than the four walls that once confined me. I've made new friends, friends who accept me for who I am, friends who share their lives with me, just as I share my life with them. These friendships have been a lifeline, pulling me out of the depths of my loneliness and into a world of camaraderie and shared experiences. The confidence I now feel is not something that happened overnight. It was a slow, gradual process, like a seed sprouting into a plant. I've learned to stand tall, to look people in the eye, and to speak my mind. I've learned to assert myself, to demand respect, and to give respect in return. The life I am living now is a far cry from the life I used to live. Every day is a new adventure, a chance to learn something new, a chance to grow. I've learned to appreciate the simple things in life, the beauty of a sunset, the sound of laughter, the warmth of a hug. These are the things that truly matter, the things that make life worth living. The journey I've embarked upon has shaped me in ways I never thought possible. It has taught me that change is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. It has shown me that it's never too late to become the person you want to be. I am still on this journey, but now I am not alone. I am not the same Julius who was trapped in his own world. I am a new Julius, who is embracing life one day at a time,